In this clip, we're actually going to use PuTTY to demonstrate a few things that we can do on our other web server. So I'm going to start up PuTTY from my C temp drive, choose my busweb server that I had the settings saved from before, and this time I'm just going to double click on it. It launches my connection to the busweb server. I'll type in my login ID, my password, and notice it doesn't display on the screen, and it shows me when I was last logged in, and we're ready with our Linux prompt. All right, as I mentioned before, when we see that $sign, the Linux prompt, all it means is we can type in either a Linux command or the name of an application. So we're going to start out with a few different Linux commands. The first one that we mentioned before is the ls command. It means to list out items. So if I type in ls and hit enter, you can see I don't have any items in this directory, in my default directory. So I want to figure out, what files and folders even look like on a Linux computer. So what I'm going to do is try a different command. It's called the cd command. Cd means to change directory. So I'll hit enter, type in ls, and for the most part it seems as though, well, I'm typing in all these commands and nothing's really happening. But a couple things did actually happen. The first time I typed in ls up here, it tried to list out any folders or files that I've got created in my default directory, and I don't have any. Just typing in the cd command, what that does is no matter where you happen to be, it will always return you to your home or default directory. So once I typed in ls again, I didn't see anything. But instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to a different directory. If I type in cd space and 2 periods, what this means is it's going to change to one directory up. In other words, to my parent directory, to the one just above my home directory. So I'll hit enter. Doesn't appear as though anything's happened. But now when I type in ls, it displays out a listing of all the different logins that happen to be on this computer. So for example, this one right here, JD Online, that's the one that I logged into. If I type in cd space ... again, it's going to take me to that parent directory. So now if I do ls, we get a different list of directories. So for example, there's the bin directory, the dev, home, lost and found, etc. If I type in cd space ... it tries to go to the parent directory. We type in ls, and now you can see it basically just shows you the same exact thing, which means that we're at the top, or in other words, we're at the root level of all my directories. I can't go up any higher. So I kind of got lost. I'm not sure where I want to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in cd. That will take me to my home or default directory. Type in an ls, and there we are. We're back to where we started out in the first place. So we've got two different Linux commands that we've covered so far, the ls and the cd command. ls means list, cd means change directory. So now I want to make a file to show you what some of these things might look like. Well, that actually uses not a Linux command but an application. So there's a command, or an application that's called nano. So I'll type in nano, which is a text editor. It's just like the Microsoft Notepad text editor as far as the types of files that it creates. And I'm going to type in the name of my file, which is index.html. That's my kind of magic file name that we can use for our website. Hit enter, and it starts out the nano editor, and it lets me start editing a file. Down at the bottom of the screen, I've got some commands. It's a caret and a G for get help, caret and an X for exit. All that means is on your keyboard you hold your you hit the control key. So I could hit control and letter G, and that pulls up the help desk, and I can scroll through this and take a look at some of the help information. So I'm going to exit out of that and start editing my file. So index.html looks like just any other web page. So we'll do HTML, head, title. So notice I'm just indenting each of these tags more for readability than anything. And I give a title to my web page. So I'm just going to call this Joe Duhawk's Online BizWeb main page. I'm going to end the header section, start the body, type in a paragraph and say, hi, my name is Joe Duhawk, and this is my BizWeb main page. Type in a period, end the paragraph, end the body, and end my HTML. So that's it. That's my file. I'm going to exit out of here, so I'll hit Control and X on my keyboard. It prompts me to save the modified buffer. A buffer is just a temporary memory location, so in other words it's in random access memory on this computer. So yes, that's what I want to do. I'm going to type in a Y. It prompts me, is this the name of the file you want to call it, index.html? That's correct, so I'll hit enter. And it's exited out of that. I can type in ls. I can now see I have one file, and if I go back to my browser and go to bizweb.loris.edu / and your login ID, so in my case it's JD Online, hit enter. There's my web page. Hi, my name's Joe Duhawk. This is my BizWeb page. The title shows up here, Joe Duhawk's Online BizWeb, so we can see that on our website. All right, a couple other things that we can do with the ls command. There's a parameter that we can send with this. So I'll type in the command ls. Then anytime you want to put in a Linux parameter, you type in a minus sign and whatever the parameters are in. So for example, there's the capital L. It's not a 1, I'm sorry, it's a lowercase l. Just about all Linux commands are case sensitive. They tend to be in lowercase. So now I'll hit enter, and what that -l parameter does is it gives you what's called a long list. It gives you some information about index.html. So at the beginning of this, it's got a -rw, -r, and then another -r, telling us that we've got the types of access rights for this particular file. It tells you when it was created, and it also tells you the number of bytes that is, or in other words, pretty close, the number of characters that I've got in that file. So there's 173 files. So let's edit that again. Nano index.html. And I want to add something to this. So I'm just using my arrow keys to move around. Don't use your mouse because this version of Linux is pretty much all keyboard driven. It uses what's called a CLI, a command line interface, as opposed to a GUI interface, a GUI interface. So I'm going to put in another paragraph. I am a student at Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa. And I want to hyperlink Loris College to go to the Loris College website. So I'll put in an A, href equals quote http://www.loris.edu. That's the website that it's going to link to when we hyperlink the words Loris College. So let's save our file, Control X, type in a Y to save it, hit enter, and now if I jump back over here and refresh my page, I should have a link to Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. I'll click on that link, wait patiently, and we'll see if it will log into www.loras.edu. So you can add a number of different links onto your page. You can add images on your page. We can do all sorts of different things that we want to have. So there's our Loras College website. All right, we're going to go back, pull up our Joe Duhawk, and we're going to try another couple tricks. I'm going to open up a new tab, go to google.com. I want to get an image, so I'm going to search Google Images, and I want to find out what the heck a Duhawk even is. So there we've got some images of a Duhawk. I'll click on one of them. I want to visit this page. And see where I've got my different Duhawks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image. And I'll save that on my iDrive. In my web folder. And we'll leave it as something fairly simple that we can remember. Loras Duhawk logo .jpg in this case. Hit save. Then I'm going to go back to my busweb site. I want to type in nano index.html, and on my website I want to add my image. So I'll put in img src equals quote, and then I have to give the URL wherever I save this image. The reason I saved it on another server is to try to download images onto this particular, the BizWeb server. It requires the use of an FTP program, and I don't really want to have to get into all of that. So I'm going to go to http://myweb.loras.edu. That's essentially the iDrive, and that was stored on this account, and it was called, what did I call that? Go to my iDrive. I think it was the Loras Duhawk logo. There it is, Loras Duhawk logo. .jpg. I can align this on the center of my page, and I can give it some alternate text. Go Dewey, and any other properties that I want to put in on my image. So we'll save all this, type in ls space -l, and you can see by entering in all my changes I now have 371 characters as opposed to before where we only had 173. Go to my website, hit refresh. There's my image, and we've got Dewey showing up on the page. Okay, so we've got a couple of commands that we can create. We've got the ls command, the cd command, the nano command to do some rudimentary creation of web pages. A couple other commands I want to show you quickly. There's a mkdir command, which means to make a directory, and I'm going to make a directory called animals. type in ls space -l to give me a long list, and the first letter of animals is the letter D, meaning it's a directory. I'm going to copy my main page into my animals page. So what I can do is use another Linux command. It's the cp command. So I'll say cp index.html, and I want to put that into the animals directory. And if I don't type a slash and a file name after it, it will just use whatever my default directory is. So it's copy old file into the new file. It's going to copy the original main index.html page into my directory called animals. Hit enter. Now I want to change to that directory, so I type in cd animals. I type in an ls command. I've got just this one file, index.html. I'm going to edit that file, and it's no longer my main page. This is my animals page. And I could say something like, hi, my name is Joe Duhawk, and we'll delete all this out, and I like animals. I'm going to get rid of this line, so I can hit Control and K, which means to cut text. So Control K cuts that line, Control K again, Control K again. So we've got all of that done. I'm going to hit Control X to save this file. I'm going to change directories back up to the parent directory, my main directory. So I type in cd space dot dot, type in ls space -l, and you can see there I'm back to my main page. There's animals and index.html. I need to edit my main page, index.html. And we said I'm a student at Loras College. Down at the bottom, I'm going to add another link that says, did you know I like animals? And I need to make this a hyperlink. So I want to hyperlink the whole words I like animals. Ahref equals quote animals. That's the directory I'm going to link to. And I'm going to turn off the hyperlinking before my question mark. Save this, Control X, hit yes, hit enter, refresh my page. Did you know I like animals? We'll click on that. It takes me to, hi, my name's Joe Duhawk, and I like animals. So that's how you can quickly create a number of different pages using a few of the commands that we've run through: ls, cd, nano, mkdir, and we also did the cp command for copying some files. So that's it for this particular session. I'm going to type in logout, closes down my putty session, and we can go back, hit refresh, make sure my page is working just fine, and we should be all set until next time.